Hello and welcome to the Economic Times Live Webinar 2022, the transformation of businesses through CX in the age of digital disruption, powered by Amazon Internet Services Private Limited, co-powered by Unifor. On behalf of ETH, this is your host, Deepti Diwan. Before we begin, let me set the context for you. In this digital age, customer experience is the future competitive battleground. A lot of organizations are currently going through digital transformation, and any organization doing so must pay close attention to customer experience. Customer experience is a great place to start for digital transformation because it emphasizes generating happy customers and will also address many existing inefficiencies. Needless to say, a customer's willingness to do business with a firm time and again is strongly correlated with their satisfaction with the company. Survey results also revealed a direct connection between word-of-mouth advertising and consumer satisfaction. High-quality customer service is a short way to help businesses in terms of income and reputation. Customer experience is undoubtedly a key factor in business growth. It's a continuous process that calls for organizational commitment. This dedication must pervade the entire B2B organization. B2B companies can employ a multi-channel strategy to strengthen the relationship between their brand and clients. B2B companies must keep investing in what the consumer wants and needs in order to strike the ideal balance. Knowing how sales, branding, and customer loyalty are tightly linked to customer experience will equip you with the knowledge necessary to create the most effective and efficient path to success. CX teams must gain access to the right insights to enrich their operations while keeping costs down, which can only be drawn from actual customer engagements. As a result, conversational AI, intelligent self-service, and real-time agent assistance are transforming how companies do business. With call volumes increasing, immediate returns on investment are sorely needed. So let us discuss the various critical pointers on how customer experience is transforming and driving the growth of businesses in this digital era. With that, let me lead you towards the panel discussion, where some of our discussion points would be the role of CX or customer experience in business transformation, evolving technology to deliver the best CX, adoption of multi-channel strategies by B2B organizations. What are some use cases that demonstrate the impact of AI and automation on employee and customer experience? And how can organizations find the right balance between digital interactions and human interactions? ETH is pleased to invite our expert speakers. We welcome Shashi Ranjan, Head Customer Experience, Dr. Lal Path Labs. A warm welcome to Rajiv Sikka, Group CIO, Medanta Hospitals. We welcome Samir Chibbar, Chief Customer Service and Operations, Pramerica Life Insurance. We are delighted to welcome Ms. Savitri Boble, Head Customer Experience, Neo Solutions. Warm welcome to Ashish Nagar, Director, Customer Service and Sales, Upgrad. Welcome to Sudha Bhatt, Senior Principal, Conversation Intelligence at Unifor. And a very warm welcome to our moderator, Priyank Desai, Strategic Account Manager, ISV Segment, Amazon Internet Services Private Limited. Before we begin, we would like to share a small video to set the context for this discussion. So let's take a look.
Conversations, billions of them. Text, chat, calls, video. Conversations, all overflowing with valuable data that's being missed. Conversations are your company's greatest asset. How do you capture their value and deliver superior experiences? Unifor is driving better conversations across the enterprise, transforming customer service and sales, enhancing every customer interaction in our virtual-first world, delivering a more effective sales experience, a streamlined employee experience, a better customer experience. all with AI, automation, computer vision, and tonal emotion. So every conversation is truly heard, seen, and understood. Unlock your company's potential. Make every conversation count.
Indeed, make every conversation count. Dear viewers, we have a few poll questions that will be displayed on your screen. Now, please do take a few seconds of your valuable time to answer them during the session. These questions will remain during the course of the webinar. And now with that expert panel, we look forward to some great insights coming up. I now promptly hand over to our moderator, Mr. Desai, to steer this discussion forward. Over to you, sir.
Hey, thanks a lot, Deepthi. Once again, everyone, a warm welcome. Good afternoon to all the panelists and the audience who's given us your time. I thank you all first of all for that. Deepthi already introduced the panel, so let me just share my views on the topic that we have today here, and then we'll open up the panel discussion. I think I must say driving forces have never been evident in the industry on how applicable and relevant conversational AI and analytics has become from a customer engagement strategy perspective. More importantly, it is relevant for players of all sizes and industries across regions. A recent report from Accenture sort of validates this, where it says that 3 out of 4 C-suite executives believe if they don't scale up in line with AI in the next 5 years, they risk losing a lot of opportunities. Current driving factors, I feel, must also be looked at from 2 different lenses. One is the pandemic and one is the post-pandemic period, to see how it has made the organizations rethink their customer engagement strategies. I think pandemic has led to a huge push for conversational AI to reduce the dependency on touch points which became bottlenecks during the pandemic. With conversational AI, industries are looking at both transformational as well as tactical ways to reduce dependencies, improve insights, and enhance customer experience. And this shift is evident even by numbers. I mean, Forbes recently reported that conversational AI is projected to demonstrate a CAGR of roughly 19% until 2030, will be valued at $32.62 billion. And if we look at a global big data and analytics market perspective, this was roughly $224 billion by end of 2021, which is expected to be a $684 billion market by 2030. These are humongous numbers. And these are solutions which require to be built, innovative applications to be built around it. And we at AWS have been at the forefront of leading innovation and enabling businesses to build solutions, build innovative solutions, and especially for today's conversation, build cutting-edge AI-powered innovative solutions. On that note, let us kick off this presentation and the panel discussion that we have here today from various industry speakers. And I'm going to start first with Samir. You are on my left in the Zoom window here, Samir, and you're my first person that I'm going to open it up as well. And I wanted to understand, Samir, from you, what are your views specifically around the whole evolution of voice technology, specifically on the conversational AI perspective, Samir? Over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Priyank, and warm greetings to all panelists and the participants of the webinar. So Priyank, as I understand conversational AI, I think with the advent of the computer age, especially around the early 90s, speaking purely for India, we've seen a lot of trends around customer experience changing from what customers were wanting, and gradually what their expectations reached out to. As an example, the banking sector was the foremost where we could see these changes, with public sector banks doing everything in the physical form, and then gradually we saw Access, we saw ICICI Bank, actually changing the way banking was done. This also led to the expectation of the banking customers changing, and they wanting to do transactions from the ease of their chair and not moving to the two branches. I think that consumer shift has actually led to technology is changing, and technology is adapting to what the customers are wanting. So I see a lot of change happening from 90s onwards with the advent and opening of the Indian economy, computers getting into our day-to-day lives, and also the younger generation moving into the new consumers and replacing the older mindsets of the previous consumers that were there in India. So that's been the evolution as far as I understand of the technologies, and this in fact has led to new technologies now coming in, and conversational AI is at the forefront. Uh, so that's what I feel.
Perfect. I think very apt, especially in terms of the way the banking sector or the customers that you spoke about, right? The shift that we are seeing, and from banking, I'm going to switch gears and bring in Shashi, who is from Lal Path Labs, Dr. Lal Path Labs. Shashi, what's your view when it comes to the evolution of the voice technology and conversational AI?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here. So in terms of the COVID, the post-pandemic effect, a lot has changed, especially in the healthcare industry. The traditional or the conventional way where we were directly interacting with the customer over a call or via email, that has completely changed. During the pandemic time, we saw a huge influx of the call volume. It went up to 4x. And to put the manpower to cater this requirement was not very easy. And that is the reason this conversational AI was something which was very handy. And it really helped in terms of the healthcare to manage that kind of peak which we saw during the pandemic time. Also, a lot has changed in terms of a consumer behavior, moving from the assistant voice kind of a command where we were using the Siri and other features like Alexa. Now we are seeing the cars, those are coming with the voice connected features. So the entire world is moving towards that. In fact, I would like to share my personal experience. Yesterday, I called up one of the car manufacturing helpline, and mentally I was ready that I'll have to push some kind of buttons on my mobile phone. And it was completely different. The IVR was completely voice enabled, and it was recognizing the Indian dialect very easy. So I think the world has really moved post-pandemic, especially in the IT sector, the kind of development which is happening in the digital front, that has been ramped up now. So that kind of boost was really needed, and that is there now.
Fantastic. I think two very interesting anecdotes, right? One from banking, one from a healthcare perspective, and overall the way we are seeing this shift coming in terms of the adoption and the evolution on the IT front. But I think what also this merits is a conversation today that we should have around how can organizations find that right balance between the digital interaction and the human interaction, right? And I'm going to bring in somebody who's in the space on the edtech side. I think Ashish, I'm going to bring up the next question to you in terms of from your perspective, how do these organizations find the right balance between what should be done in a digital interaction and how much of it can actually still be dependent on human interaction? How do you balance it?
Yeah, thanks, Priyank, for asking this interesting question to me. And digital interactions and human interactions both are equally important for a business. Technology might be the key to great customer experience, but when customer is concerned or frustrated, the human touch is the only way to create an exceptional experience. According to a survey, 52% of people are frustrated because they are not given the opportunity to connect with a live human for customer support. And 18% are downright angry. Also, another very important point that not all customers are the same. There are the digital savvy, those who want personal communication, and some who really do not need or want any human interaction, and especially customers in the age group of 18 to 34 years. However, there's one thing common among all customers, and that is they want to get a job done. So it's important for a business to know your customers and provide the support accordingly with the right balance between digital interactions and human interactions. The right balance between these two will be different across brands and industries. And they should focus on get the job done with the least effort. And that's what a customer expects from the brand. A brand should not consider digital and human interactions as two separate experiences, but as integrated parts of a total experience. Imagine if you are a customer and if you have a query, how would you want to resolve that query? Uh, I'm sure you'll go to the website or app to that particular brand, and then you'll search an option to contact that team so that you can get your query addressed. So either you'll find a contact number or you'll find a chat option, which will pop up over there. How may I help you? And then the bot journey will start, or the IVR journey will start. And now it depends on the nature of your query. If it's a basic query, that bot or that IVR that can easily address that query. But if it's a critical one, then you will need that human interaction to resolve that query. So customers are looking for an easy and convenient options to discuss or to get their queries addressed. Technology can help drive that experience, or it can drive customers away if they aren't ready for it. Different businesses cater to different type of customers. The secret is to know your customers and use the technologies accordingly. It's also important that you train your customers to use your technology. You can offer an incentive for customers to use digital self-help options. Best example is FASTag. When you are on road and you're paying a toll, if you're paying it through FASTag, then you have to pay X amount. But in case if you are paying in cash, you'll have to pay the 2X amount. The another example of airlines, they did the same thing with getting customers to check in and print their boarding passes or add them to their smartphones. Of course, the other options are also available as per the requirement, an agent on call or visit when customer arrive at the airport and they need any help. That option is also there, but they are maintaining that balance. So according to my opinion, organizations must know their customers first through a market research, survey, analyzing the data, and they should act accordingly. An ideal situation is to use the digital interactions first, having a human backup for all digital self-service options. Even when you go to any grocery store and opt to use the self-service checkout lane, there is always an employee there to help in case if you need any assistance or if you're facing some problem in scanning. So that person is there to assist you. So know your customer and provide them a hybrid solution as per their requirement. This is what I would recommend. Yeah. Thank you, Priyank.
Thanks, Ashish, for that answer. I think something that sort of resonated a lot with me, and even at Amazon, right? What we talk about is getting the job done with the least effort and making the customer successful, right? I think that at the fundamental level is the premise. But I also want to get one more panelist's view on this topic around balancing between digital and human interaction. I think Savitri, if you don't mind, I'm keen to understand from Neo Solutions and from a fintech world, and you know how do you see this getting the right balance from that perspective?
Thanks, Priyank. And I think Ashish has covered a lot of the points that I had in mind. But just to add to it, like from a fintech perspective, I've been in this industry for almost a decade now, and I remember just in 2015. People were very wary of uploading any documents in a digital way, right? They wanted to talk to someone before they gave you their Aadhaar card, PAN card, and things like that. I remember even in onboarding, when we were thinking of, what kind of help text we should keep, it was all trying to make it look as human as possible. We had to have chat. And we had to, the text was all about why do we need this document, and you can reach out to us and things like that. And today, people are happy uploading their documents to a chatbot. So the trend is very clear that people are beginning to trust digital solutions, right? And obviously there are younger people with more money, and they have grown up with bots and a digital experience, even where video games are concerned and things like that, where you put in your card, you pay for things and stuff. So So definitely it's in that direction, and there's no denying that. And the only challenge I feel is, like, even a company like Amazon, with the kind of data that they have, right, are very wary of really having a truly bot experience through and through. And there's a reason for that, because if you really want to have conversational AI, and AI is a very loaded term, you need tons of data. You need tons of data for it to become seriously meaningful. So I think there are parts of your journey that you can have digital, and there are parts of your journey that you just can't, even today. And like Ashish said, whether or not you have a bot flow, you have a digital flow, they want the option of being able to reach out to a human. They use it or not is not the point. It's like lounge access on cards, right? You may not use it, but you want it. So that still exists. And the second thing that I wanted to touch upon is the stage at which companies are, right? That also matters how much of your journey can be digital. So when your tech and product are really settling down, right, and it's not as stable, it's very dynamic, that's when I feel like you really need to spend on human resources where customer experience is concerned. Because then you don't want to have bots and things that need changing. You don't know what is going to happen. So that is when you really need humans to be able to digest the changes and help the customers. As your product starts getting more and more mature, you can make it much more digital, and it makes sense to, because then it's, you can save cost and stuff like that. So I think it really depends on the customers also, and the stage at which your company is, where this whole digital versus human plays out. But at least in fintech, I think the trend is very clear, although the option needs to be there for humans.
Now, I think I like your anecdote around the credit card, right? I think it's and the lounge access. I think it's a very apt conversation, because which is also something I just quoted earlier, where most of the CXOs feel if we are not AI ready, we are going to lose opportunity. People may use it or not, that's a different conversation. But I think you also made a very, very interesting point around data and leveraging data, right? And I think that's where I want to drive the next point towards. And I'm going to invite Sudha from Unifor on this. Sudha, how do organizations like manage customers' expectations when it comes through data and analytics? Because like Savitri mentioned, there's so much data, there's so much stuff that's around there. How do you manage the customers' expectations using that data and then doing some analytics on top of it?
Yeah. Sure. Thanks, Priyank. And, first of all, really glad to be part of this power-packed and interesting discussion. So thanks to all the panelists for keeping this moving. Well, coming back to your question, Priyank, and yes, I think, as all of them earlier said, I don't think the organizations or brands are undermining the power of data and analytics at all. They do get it that in order to have an edge and in order to, grow their businesses or, see profitability and gain new customers, it has to be a data-driven organization. There is absolutely no doubt in that. It's like written on stone for them. But, Savitri was absolutely right. Where they struggle is in understanding what that data is saying, because there's tons and tons of it flowing. And given the current gen that we are, there is so much of channels of interaction for any brand, right? Or even anything that you trying to bring about all of that and consolidate and use and make use of it in a wiser mode is where, most often the struggle is. So when you get to the how part, right? So I think most CX professionals as well, like me would definitely vouch. The first block is called listen and learn. So what that means is, you listen to what the data is saying, right? That's your foundation layer. And that's where the analytics kind of plays in a lot. And how you do it, there's multiple ways, right? I think Ashish, you touched upon the surveys and so on. So, you can have customer journey maps, you can, understand the pain points that you have, you can look at what the data is telling you, right? And then you map that out, you understand those needs. And that's where, your analytical models, where they do the customer segmentation based on the behavior and based on the patterns or, past patterns as well, that's what comes into play, right? And the second block is using that insights wisely, right? You will have to be able to extract those insights. And then, you think about you infusing data back nuggets, a little nuggets to every different function. So, again, going back to the card example that Savitri said, maybe it is a great marketing campaign to have, credit cards being sold with lounge access, which is going to gain customers, right? So that is a good way. But then, if those cards are not being used, then it's going to be, where is it in that value chain, which, you're going to be able to gain. So that's again another use case where, you have analytics coming in to look at data and then to calculate your customer lifetime value, right? And then the third, which is the toughest to execute, is on culture, right? Which is you building a culture around a data-centric organization and professing that the use of data and analytics and how it kind of, mines out the necessary nuggets to every function, be it your product insights or improving your product or even your customer service operations. So I think, to build out that effective and efficiency, it's very important that these three foundations are there in order for you to manage that expectation using data and analytics.
Fantastic. I think that's a very wise point, especially the point around which data to look at, right? And which data to analyze, because you may be in your head thinking I'm doing so much work, but eventually that has no impact, right? But from doing so much work and impact, I think it makes a lot of sense to get to my next question, which I have for Rajiv, who's been patiently waiting for his turn. Rajiv, this is on the satisfaction level of a customer, right? How can we make sure the satisfaction level of a customer retains the business? Because that's another important element that we have to worry about. And I'm keen, as somebody who leads the IT at Medanta, what's your view on these aspects on the satisfaction level?
So satisfaction in any hospital or in healthcare industry is defined by trust, nothing else. Patient wants to know that how fast and how well he can go home. Nothing more matters to a patient than this. Now, when you talk about how fast and how well he will go home, there is an element of information which a patient needs, because the more information patient will get, he will be more engaged in her treatment, and he will get better clinical outcome. These are like proven results. When you talk about seeking more information, it means that patient wants to know each and everything about the hospital. This is a true story. Me and one of my colleague was outside the country for a operational study tour of the peer hospitals, which are like high-class hospitals. So someone told us that God knows what kind of a hospital will be Medanta, whether it will be hygiene enough. So it was a shocking slap on the face. And then we realized that let's put a 3D view of Medanta on the website, which means that even before patient search, how the MRI should look like, how the wards looks like, how the ICU looks like, how my cafeteria looks like, what does my kitchen looks like. So we put each and every 3D view, of Medanta on the website. We strongly feel that patient advocacy and patient education is very important in the care. So now what happens is that if you go to the Medanta website, there are hundreds and hundreds of video on patient education with respect to a particular disease, with respect to a particular treatment or line of treatment, or educating patient that what type of query you should ask your physician when you go and visit. Especially when you talk about cardiology or oncology, line of treatments are so different that patient is utterly confused, and sometimes, trust me, even doctors are equally confused. So this is now what we have done is, see, it's a known fact that in a hospital there are more than 180 touch points between a patient and the hospital, and these are like traditional, classical, conventional points and digital points. And when you talk about scale, Medanta, we have more than 1 million visits in one single hospital per annum. Just imagine 1 million visits across OP, IP, daycare, and emergencies, including diagnostics. Now, to meet that scale and to have a patient-centric approach, nothing is possible, and you can't put people to a problem. You have to have a digital solution in place. So on Medanta website, a patient can do whatever he can do, in person. So which he can book an appointment, he go there to the website, find a doctor. He doesn't know the doctor name, he knows the treatment he wants to understand which are the doctors who do saber knife for brain surgery, Okay, so he enters cyberknife, brain surgery. All the doctors who do this treatment are there. You like a book my show, you book the slot of a doctor. If you want to do prepayment, you do prepayment. You have like a boarding card example, which Ashish took. You have a boarding card equivalent, receipt come invoice of your payment. You just walk in to your desired slot at the time to the doctor chamber. So what's happening is that we are of the strong opinion that patient coming out of the hospital should not be carry bundle of papers in the hand. So any interaction, be it a OPD prescription, discharge note, radiology report, all those stuff, including the medication which patient is getting from the hospital, they can go to the website or the app and download each of them at any given time. So these are some of the interactions which gives patient immense sense of satisfaction that they are being taken care, and all of them are personalized because obviously you're logging into your specific areas. So I'll take a pause here and give more examples as we move forward.
Fantastic. And I think it's a very, very interesting area because the hospital industry in general in India is an industry where there is a good potential of innovation, right? And I think that's where your example adds up really well from the panel discussion perspective. I'm gonna ask Ashish, from your perspective, anything to you? Do you want to add more from the educational industry, right? Because that's another area where satisfaction levels are immensely important. You're getting the young people who are trying to learn and get their degrees.
Yeah.
So but in a very quick 1 minute, if you can summarize, Ashish.
Yeah, sure. Again, interesting question, Priyank, and a very interesting response from Mr. Sikka. But yeah, I'll quickly cover points in terms of edtech, and not only edtech, but fintech and others, BPO, KPO also. This is applicable everywhere. And we all know that customer satisfaction is very important for any business to grow. And in a study, it is observed that satisfied customers are willing to pay 140% more for a great customer experience. And 89% customers are more likely to make another purchase after a positive customer experience, which makes happy customers will lead to more revenue. So in another case history, 96% of unhappy customers, they don't complain. However, 91% of those will simply leave and they never come back. So customer satisfaction is key when you're trying to increase your revenue and you retain customers. If your customers are happy, it will help your business to grow. So today, every organization is more focused to enhance customer experience. And I'll quickly cover 7 quick pointers which are very helpful to enhance customer experience. And that is also applicable in the tech industry. So we usually capture customer feedback and we take action accordingly. The feedback capture process is actually very helpful, and it helps us to know how satisfied our customers are. And it also helps us to improve our customer experience. We get to know what our happy customers are saying. We continue such practices. And whenever we get to know from an unhappy customer, we work on that feedback. So we get a lot of insights from these feedback survey. And there are a few customers who share their reviews on social media platforms. So it helps us to improve our overall customer experience. 87% says that customer feedback has become more important after COVID-19 situation. Number 2, for every organization, especially for AdTech, be approachable for your customers by offering multiple customer support channels. And we also provide all those channels to our customers. We have a toll-free number where our customers can reach out at any point of time. We have a chat option, the bot, and then human intervention. We have a centralized email ID, learners can reach out to us. Then we have social media presence for learners who are quite active on social media. As you mentioned that it's a quite young generation and those are actually very active on social media. Then we provide a FAQ section on our website and app so that we can help them for quick resolution. Number 3 is providing 24/7 support. So it actually helps us to enhance our customer experience because our learners, they get time during night hours. Once all of these are working professionals, so they get time during the night hours, and sometimes they need support at that point in time. So we have chat support, we have call support options to help them 24/7. Then the 4th is respond in a timely manner. So if learners are reaching out to us on chat or on call, We ensure providing first-time resolution through these platforms. And we also have email process, and we adhere the turnaround time to respond such queries quickly. Then the team, they follow up in case if there is any dependency on any cross-functional team or the tech team. If there is any delay, we need to proactively communicate to our customers that there is a delay in providing the resolution, though we usually don't follow that practice that there should be no delay, but sometimes there is a dependency on some third parties. And then finally, the closure. So the communication should be very clear to our learners, and that should be in a timely manner. Number 5 is strong grievance redressal mechanism. So even after resolving everything, there would be some grievances, and that happens everywhere. So you should build a very strong grievance redressal mechanism to ensure you are resolving all complaints in a timely manner and in a proper manner, and providing a satisfactory response to your customers. The 6 is to create custom rewards, incentivize your customers for continuing using your services or buying your products or referring someone for your product or services. The last but not the least is the 7th, give transparent information to your customers, keep everything crystal clear on your website, especially all the important and critical information should be very clearly informed to them. At Upgrad, in EdTech, we usually follow people, process, and technology. So customer-centric people, the customer-centric processes, customer-friendly processes, and technology. These 3 play a major role to enhance your customer experience.
Ashish, thanks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. I was hoping for a 1 minute, but you covered most of the conversations from the very wide perspective, especially around customer feedback, and then areas to act upon. I think to pick up on the customer feedback, an anecdote I can share from how we at AWS work, right? A lot of the new innovations that we do comes from our customers' feedback. And we have this continuous mechanism where every new feedback that we come in, we raise something called as a feature request, and that feature request gets prioritized and it comes out as a new feature, right? But I'm going to switch gears and bring in my panelists again, Samir, who's been here on the panel as well. Samir, I want to now come to you and talk to you about what are some of the critical transformative initiatives that you feel will shape the experience for customers tomorrow, or what are the things that you feel from that perspective that we should look at right now?
Yeah, thanks, Priyank, once again. And see, the first thing that I would want to pick up is something that Sudha mentioned, which is culture within the organization. Now, there is a lot to do with culture, and that takes a lot of effort. And I can especially say that because we are just like other insurance companies are are currently transforming from a physical onboarding of customers to a digital onboarding journey, and how we do that, and how effective that results in our uptake of new customers and servicing of existing customers is very important. So culture plays a very important role, and we are investing a good amount of time, energy, and money in that transformation.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, the other aspect is again what to do with data. So both Savitri and Sudha, and in fact Ashish are also mentioned that data is humongous, and most of the businesses, especially in the insurance domain, have been doing this business for over a decade and a half. So a lot of data is there. What do you do with the data? How do you come up with inferences? That is something that is extremely important. And what we had seen in the past was that any data point was being raised as a red flag, and everybody wanted to show that they've got the right pulse of the customer basis XYZ data points. Now I think that has largely been managed by the cultural interventions that the L&D team and the HR team has done. That's the other thing. Third thing is what technology you want to pick up, because budgets can't be infinite. You have to understand what data is giving to you, and what is the technology that you want to deploy to improve business, improve the quality of business, improve the quality of servicing. So these are things that we are working for within Primerica Life. And I would not say it's given immediate results, because this is a time consuming activity. The process takes some amount of time, but yeah, we have started seeing green shoots so far.
Yeah, no, perfect. And I think very apt, right? Budgets are not unlimited. I mean, as a sales guy, I would love if that were the case, but that's never the case. And you very rightly put it. And I'm going to request Sudha, if you also have any
Yeah.
pointers here to share from the initiatives that will shape tomorrow's customer
Yeah,
experience.
sure. Thanks, Priyank. And I think Samir as well covered it well. So, I'll just add to Samir's points. So the first thing is going to be, looking at more human-centric digital interactions, right? What that means is going back to what we've all been talking about, the customer needs and customer wants. It's going to circle around that for sure. And just a very interesting article that I read from Forbes, right, where they did a survey. I'm going to add a little more to Ashish's data points, where 84% of the consumers said that they would prefer organizations which have self-help. But out of that, alarmingly, 60% of them said that they are not able to use those self-help apps easily, right? And more than half of them actually were really frustrated with the service that offered, right? But what that actually tells is that serious gap which exists between, say, how a customer or employee are actually accelerating at a faster pace than what an organization can afford to change as well. Maybe the budget, maybe the tech, right? And most often what happens is we have great set of initiatives which are customer centric, and we rely a lot on technology, but we don't use that technology wisely, or we rely too much on technology that we forget how it's going to impact the experience angle, right? And so that's one thing which I think will be a very focused transformative initiative which many organizations will run, and maybe it will rely on three major blocks, right? So by now you could have figured out I love 4 blockers and 3 blockers. So the first block would be to look at transformation from a customer-centric, data-centric perspective. And the second would be, something which I love, which is break the rules. What it means is you break the silos, right? You get more and more cross-functional. And I think organizations structurally are also changing, and, to get into a more kind of a cross-functional way. And the third is the point which Sameer touched upon, which is the culture, which is the toughest to drive, right? And at Unifor, we kind of look at every conversation that kind of brings about that information on customer. And I think more and more, it's going to be around the conversational AI. And I think it's going to be a wait and watch game for what the meta world and what the augmented reality is going to bring. So that's going to be an interesting watch on the transformation side.
Very, very interesting. I think, Shashi, do you want to add anything here? Just from your perspective, a quick summary, if anything.
Yeah, sure. So I'll add to a very important aspect of the entire customer experience, which is the employee who is dealing with the customer. While we'll be conducting a lot of things about the customer experience, it is very important and imperative that we start focusing on the employee part also. The use of AI, ML, how we can make life easy for the associate who is dealing with the customer. The kind of information which we can provide to the associate, or the RP, the kind of automation which we can do, which will ease the mundane task. So that is one of the very important aspects which we should look at while driving the entire customer experience.
Perfect. I think my next question is sort of redundant, but I'm still going to ask it. And I'm going to loop in Savitri and Rajiv. One of you or both of you can pick this. Has conversational AI officially become a mainstream strategy for most brands? Savitri, do you want to pick first?
Yeah, sure. So I honestly don't think that's true. The way I'm looking at conversational AI, I don't think that it has become the mainstream strategy, because, like I said, and Sudha added to it, it requires very intelligent processing of data, and I don't know if all organizations have had that kind of capability to do that, and also the stability to do that in some way, right?
Okay.
So that is there, but definitely it has, I think the process has begun. So for
Okay.
example, even with onboarding, we have been trying this, that if somebody drops off from the app, then an AI, a call goes to him, which I think a panelist was mentioning, where it's voice AI, and that gets processed, and you can actually complete that onboarding on the call. And if the AI realizes that this cannot be done on the call, that technology can actually guide the customer back to the app and request them to put in stuff, right? So now this is huge. I mean, this is like omni-channel, human-less onboarding, which is going to drive sales and then revenue, right? So, and this, I think, a lot of people are talking about. So I think it's begun in a big way, but I don't think it is a full-fledged strategy yet.
Fantastic. Rajiv, do you agree with her views? Any other thoughts there?
Yeah. So Priyank, I kind of agree with Savitri, and in our industry, we are a very sensitive industry. We can't afford a emergency call being picked by conversational AI and then the patient lands some. We are super sensitive on this. Yet we have started, WhatsApp AI built, for appointment booking, which is a very selective subset of our services, but it is the main set of services. But we have not reached that stage. And honestly speaking, knowing the initial stages of this technology, we would be, and in any case, healthcare industry is always lagging behind the fintech and edtech and other industries. So we'll follow whatever Ashish and Savitri do.
I hope when we meet next time, it's not that way around, right? I think healthcare in India, especially on the SaaS side, I'm aware is doing really well. There's a lot of growth on the SaaS solution building that's coming out of India. So there is definitely a lot of innovation, but I'll leave it at that for now in terms of the mainstream strategy for most brands. Conversational AI is picking up, but it's not yet as what I understand from the panel. In the interest of time, I'm going to cover up a couple of more questions, but I request the panelists to be a bit quick, so we have 5 minutes for the audience questions as well. I'm going to switch gears again and come to you, Samir. Can you think of some game changer solution of conversational AI that's going to increase in sales and revenue? Any specific example that you have in mind, Samir, from that perspective?
Yeah, sure, Priyank. The company that I'm part of, Pramerica Life, we are the pioneers on selling life insurance to the Army, Armed Forces, and Central Armed Police Forces. And out here, we've deployed conversational AI. This has led to better onboarding of customers, and when we were so there's a process of doing a need analysis of what are the type of insurance policies that somebody would want. Now that need analysis was not done properly, and that led to complaints at a later stage. Now with AI-enabled applications, the complaints have reduced, our retention of customers is improved, and we break even by every year's premium that we receive from the customers on policies sold. So the persistency levels have actually seen a increase by deployment of AI, conversational AI.
Oh, fantastic. And that's a great example, right? Because insurance industry in general is extremely competitive and cost prohibitive, and getting this sort of break even is quite cutting edge. But from breaking even and impacting revenue, I'm going to look at a couple of use cases which demonstrate the impact of AI and automation, not just on your business, but on your employee and your customers' experience. And I'm going to request Sudha, since you are from Unifor, and I think there are solutions which cater to this. Do you have any specific use case that demonstrates this impact of AI?
Sure. I'm just going to do it really quick in
Yeah.
interest of time. So yeah, for one of the leading credit unions in Europe, right? So what we've done is, we looked at, complaints as a big use case in the banking industry, and it has the potential to get escalated to, the CFPBs and so on, right? So you want to avoid that, and you want to ensure that the experience isn't impacted, and you don't have any cost impact as well. So our AI model was able to kind of look at the patterns and be able to flag those conversations which have a potential to become a complaint early on and get into escalated, so that on the floor you can take any kind of actions which are required and devise strategies to reduce that, right? And thereby you're also ensuring that you have a higher CLTV with the customer, right, as part of it. And I think the other one is on insurance, where we looked at, because insurance is such a regulated industry, to what Samir was saying, right? Where we looked at, how can we reduce the workflows that happen at the back end, and how can we improve sales and push through and identify those particular agent behaviors which kind of, help convert into a potential sale, right? So we started identifying conversation patterns, which basically will help identify, that this can be a potential sale for an agent, and match that to an agent behavior. So, you're kind of looking at your customer behavior and then, correlating it to agent behavior, so that you're also guiding through our products on Agent Assist, where, you're guiding them on what should be done next and how can they make that sale through. So these are some, very, very, I would say just the recent ones. And there have been several like this across the industry. And obviously, healthcare is such a, it's like, as Rajiv said, that you will have to lead with an excessive empathy over there. So, that's, again, we've got some use cases as well from there too.
No, fantastic. And I think to get the right balance, which impacts both the employee and the customer experience, along with the language support, I think that's another area that we did not get a chance to focus on today. But the number of regional languages and the local languages that we have, and ensuring that the AI is able to pick it up and help you clear that. And I think that's where the solutions from somebody like an AWS, along with our partners, can come in to build that bridge for you and help you is tremendous. And I think the opportunity that lies ahead for us is immense. And I'm going to give the last word to Rajiv in terms of the future of AI, right? Rajiv, what's your view? Where is the AI applications going to help us enhance customer satisfaction?
Sure. So I'll again take the example of healthcare. Please understand that AI is, there are two areas where our forefathers before independence thought that we will take care: health and education. Both are in mess for last 75 years. Okay,
Right.
we have not been able to reach to our masses at the remotest corner in the country. So don't think about Medantas of the world or Fortis of the world or Apollos of the world or Max of the world. We have to think about healthcare. How could it help in the remotest corner of the country, where one physician standing on one foot is treating hundreds and hundreds of patients, irrespective of the kind of specialty. Here you have a different doctor for hand, different for wrist, different for shoulder, but there one poor guy is handling whole body. Now, I'll give you an example. We run India's biggest CSR for TB free, where one man goes to a remotest area, and TB is a communicable disease where number of people who died per year is far more than COVID and unreported. So in a van, what we do is that we generally have 200 odd patients who come throughout the day. These are daily wages labor who are coming by getting rid of their daily wage, and they can't be standing for the whole day. So what we need is that 200 X-rays to be read immediately. Why X-ray? Let's understand that X-ray is the first line of diagnostic tool for any diagnosis. So in this particular case, because they are very easy, they are faster, non-invasive, and so on and so forth, we can do the X-rays, 200 X-rays very fast, 30 seconds, one X-ray done. Now, who's going to read those 200 X-rays? So it's not possible for radiologists to read 200 X-ray. We have an AI solution. As soon as the X-ray comes, a report comes through the AI. It tells whether probable TB or not TB. So after 200, 160 gone, only 40 left. This 140 is read by the radiologist. And that's how, this is a fantastic example of using AI in a remote area without the help of a radiologist. Otherwise, you have to send, at least 4 or 5 radiologists, and we don't have radiologists in the country, to be fair and open. So there are many such examples. I'll take a pause. But AI in the country, especially in the healthcare, is going to take an important role in diagnostic part, not in the treatment part. And like many diagnostic tools, doctors have to treat this as as one of the other tools. So in
Got
future,
it.
doctors will exist, but doctors who don't use AI will not exist.
Fantastic. I think that's a very strong, strong message in terms of the importance of where we are headed. And I think, as you rightly said, the opportunity that lies ahead of for us is immense. There will be obviously laggards in some industry like healthcare and others, and there will be the ones who are at the pioneer in cutting edge ed tech or IT, and the opportunity is for everybody from that perspective. In the interest of time, I'm going to open up if we have any one or two panel questions. We have another 5 minutes to go before we can wrap it up. So I'm just going to see if there are any panel questions for any of the panelists from the audience, and then we can take it a closure. Anybody? Let me just check the Q&A. Okay, so there is one question. I'm going to open it up. Anybody from the panel can pick this. How can conversational AI and automation complement digital transformation? That's the question I'm getting from the audience. Okay. Sudha, do you want to pick this?
Yeah.
I'm gonna take your, yeah.
I was about to do that. Yeah. So, well, I think, these two kind of go hand in hand. Like I will pick the use case, which I was talking about in the insurance case, right? So where you had a lot of automation in respect to workflows that were happening, because, you have a lot of paperwork that comes in and you've got to upload it in a certain way. You've got caseworks that has to be done. And that kind of gets into the automation mode. But then, your conversational AI is picking up your insights on the conversations that are happening between the customer and the bot and then the agent as well. And where required, it kind of is pushing it through. But again, going back to the points that we all were discussing ahead, it has to ensure that, when you're doing that transformation journey, it's not just you're using the technology, but then you have a proper governance structure and an operating model. So you're able to balance it out and ensure that your experience as such for the end customer isn't impacted. And that's when, you get your maximum returns.
Fantastic. I do have a couple of more questions, but we are almost on the hour. So I'm gonna close the conversation today, but I once again thank all the panelists on the meeting today. I think it was a really useful conversation. I'm sure our audience had a lot to take back, but something that stuck with me was how can we bring in a right balance between the digital interaction and the human interaction aspect of it? What are the areas in which we should invest time and effort, not just blindly following data and driving analytics on top of any and every data, and then ensuring and accepting that you need to have some AI strategy in place, because I think that's where we are headed, and we cannot just be sitting on thinking, no, we are fine and nothing is going to happen to us. I think that's the top 3 summary that I was able to note from the conversation today. I'm going to give it back to our host, Deepti here. Deepti, over to you for closing remarks.
Well, thank you so much, Priyank, for wonderfully moderating this discussion and leading the flow of ideas. Thank you to our speakers for joining us and sharing their valuable insights and expertise. Dear viewers, please do answer the poll questions displayed on the screen in case you haven't done so far. We would really appreciate your feedback. In a world where products and services are becoming more and more commoditized, customer experience is the only true differentiator. Well, I leave you with that thought. Thank you so much for joining us for the Economic Times Live Webinar 2022, powered by Amazon Internet Services Private Limited, co-powered by Unifor. This is your host, Deepti Diwan, signing off. Have a pleasant day ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Good day.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Priya. Thanks, everyone.